Welcome. This is going to be a hunting or fishing video or a similar thing from Rob Goebel, aka Archery Rob. And this is part of sustainability. If you can't provide for yourself, then how free are you really? On to the video. Okay, to start this out, this is my trip to see my buddy Ted here in Hilton Head, South Carolina. He's been after me for a couple of years to get down there and go fishing with him. And this is his, it's a Guinea, or now it's Guino, the company. And this is one of the older models. He's got a couple built up decks on it and a measuring stick as a center seat. And this thing is absolutely fabulous. He's got a jack plate on it for raising and lowering the motor, and it's just a 15 horsepower on this thing, and it kicks along pretty good. I was actually quite impressed with this thing. It's like a super stable canoe with a motor could go through and get into the real shallow water, and we'll cover some of that here shortly. Okay, so here we are out on the open water with the Guino, just coming into the mouth of the creek. This is how this thing runs this is not quite at full power, but it's doing pretty good for a little boat and a 15 horsepower motor. Just more continuations running up this creek. There's a boat dock coming up, which we got to slow down for. So you can see the creek is starting to be a little smaller than it used to be as we head up a little farther. There goes a heron. Yeah, there's a fish. And another. He said the tide's coming in. Continuing up the creek, you can see it's still getting a little smaller than it used to be. It's got these got to slow down quite a bit to get around these turns. And this is what a lot of these creeks are like, very small, very windy. There's no way to get a big boat up into these things to fish at all. This is kind of a really tight turn, almost a 180. I loved fishing in this small boat. Getting into the tight areas where the docks are, you can see the retaining wall, and this is where we're going to be fishing. And this was Monday evening. We fished Monday morning, and Monday morning was a little slow. Trying to catch the tail ends of the low tide, but we were able to fish the low tide better on Monday evening. And this was mine. I think this was a keeper. And then this was Ted's. This was obviously not a keeper. I think this was around 24 and a half inches. And did a pretty good fish, pretty good fight. And that kind of ended Monday. And here we go to Tuesday. Tuesday morning again, we caught some fish. I think we caught a flounder and caught maybe one keeper red, and it was just a little slow. But then Tuesday evening again, we had a better tide, better access to the tide because of light. And all of these were non-keepers. I think this one was over 23. maybe going on 24, and then another one about the same. There we go. It was 24, so maybe 24 and a half. You squeeze this down. And then there's Ted sitting on the front of the Gino, running the trolling motor, scouting for fish and moving us up slowly in the creek. And then here's the highlight of the tour. If you haven't been to the south and met the no-see-ums, make sure that you wear long pants and long sleeve breathable shirts, and carry some bug spray with DEET on it. These little boys come out right before dark, and the females apparently need blood to breed, and they make mosquitoes sound like a picnic. Yeah, I'm sure you guys down south already know this, but anybody up north heading south, long pants, long shirts, especially when you're out around evenings. These things are not fun. Okay, and here we are Wednesday. This was a fairly good size keeper. There you go. There he is on the measuring board. You can see it's about 19 inches, maybe a little more if you squeeze his tail. Great keeper, great eating size. So you can keep them at 15 to 23, but they're smaller than this. Their fillets are pretty small. And here's one that had to go back. It was a really nice fish, really nice fight. There he is on the board at 24 and a half, going on 25. And there's the sunset, getting ready to head back in. And sun going down. This was when the no-see-ums started chewing on us. And this was midday, after the morning work and all the other stuff, and wore my guide out. He needed a nap. And there's his dog Pepper sitting on the couch next to me. Okay, here was the only good picture of fish that Ted took for me on Thursday. And this was, I think it was either just barely a keeper or, I don't remember. I didn't save the measurements or write them down. And then during the midday breaks, had told me I needed a little culture in my life, and took me to the museum by the golf course. And this was overlooking some of the areas where we fished down in this way, and then run around some of the creeks and those spots over there. This is out in the open water here. Really pretty place. And then here we move into Friday. We didn't even fish in the evenings. The tide was moving along enough where we could get into it early on on Friday morning, and went out. And when we got into them, we found a good school of reds working, and were able to target them, see them moving downstream in the shallow water with the boils coming at us. And this one, I was able to get best fish of the trip. And this one really put up a good fight. And there he is. A little over about 26 inches with the tail squeezed. And this was another one in that squad that I hooked up with. I thought I had a little fish. It was coming at me, and I told Ted, "Oh, don't worry about the net. He's just a little one coming in." And then he got near the boat and figured out he was actually hooked. I started running and pulling, dragging stuff, and I was like, "Oh, no, he's not." And there he is, about 25. And this is some of the water we were fishing. I mean, you can see here some of these shallow water spots. The water's nice and hard down here. You get off into this side over here, and it's awful mucky. Found out flip-flops aren't any good for this, and you want a pair of shoes. You see these oysters over here. I got an old pair of shoes I wore that had a little blowout for my pinky toe, and I got a big old scratch on my pinky toe from these things. They got me just in the right spot where the shoe just had a little bit of a hole. And these things will tear you up if you're not wearing good shoes. Don't wear sandals. Wear regular shoes. It'll drain or something. Don't have holes in them for either too. So make sure. And here's Ted with one of his fish. That was a nice one. And then here's one. I think I had a fish slime on the camera. On my camera lens. Didn't get a very good clear picture. But here's Ted with another fish. And this is indicative of the sea trout that was moving in. They're not real big. I think we caught 4 of them on Friday. And nice fish. Great eating fish. Great fighters. Boy, they tear up some of those little Mr. Twisters. The gulps handle better. We were using 4-inch Mr. Twister type lures and 4-inch gulps, and the gulps hold up better to these. These guys get a hold of the tail of that gulp and just rip it right off. I mean, the tail of the Mr. Twister, rip it right off. They have a little bit more trouble with the gulps. And then here's Ted's business that he runs during the year. Dolphin and Nature Tours down in Hilton Head Island. He's got two of these boats, bigger, smaller one than this, and then this one. And unfortunately, Friday, one of his captains was sick, and he had to go in and work Friday afternoon. So I left to go home early on Friday from a 10-hour trip home. But and there's the inside of the big one. Nice place. Nice cruises is kind of neat. If you got a boat, it's not really worth it for you because you can go do it yourself. But it's a nice touristy thing for people to go out and see stuff and see it from a different perspective that they would not see with a boat. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I had a great time fishing down here. The speckled trout were just starting to come in, and the reds did not disappoint.